Okay, let's talk about something we all think about. What if we could actually slow down or maybe even stop brain aging? I mean, it sounds like something out of science fiction, right? The ultimate elixir for eternal youth. But is that decline in our mental sharpness just inevitable? A slippery slope we all have to go down? Or can we actually do something about it? Let's get into what the science really tells us about taking back the reins.
You know the feeling. You're rushing out the door. You've got a million things on your mind, and poof, the keys are just gone. We've all been there, right? That little momentary blank? It's totally universal. And let's be honest, you probably had the exact same memory slips back in your 20s and never even gave it a second thought. But as we get a little older, that exact same moment of forgetfulness feels, well, it feels heavier, doesn't it? We start to worry. Is this just a senior moment, or is it maybe the beginning of something more serious? And that anxiety is so real because our minds, they immediately jump to the worst-case scenario, to diseases like Alzheimer's.
All right, so let's hit pause on the anxiety for a second and separate the facts from the fear. To really understand what we can influence, we first have to get a handle on what's actually happening inside our heads as the years go by. Think of this next part as a look at your brain's natural, and yeah, completely normal, evolution.
Okay, so this is probably the most crucial point we're going to make today. Normal brain aging is a real thing, a gradual process. But, and this is a big but, it is absolutely not the same as dementia or Alzheimer's. You've got to understand that those are specific diseases. They are not an inevitable part of just getting older.
And you know what? It's so important to realize just how normal these changes are. Yeah, it might take a little bit longer to learn a new skill or commit something new to memory. Juggling a bunch of tasks at once, it can start to feel a lot harder. And oh yeah, that name or number that's right there on the tip of your tongue, that can definitely happen more often. But listen, this isn't a sign of failure. It's just your brain's processing speed making a few adjustments over time.
So what's actually going on at a biological level? Well, first up, let's talk about brain mass. Starting around age 60 or 70, some really key areas, like the frontal lobe, which is kind of like your brain's CEO for planning and decision-making, and the hippocampus, your personal memory maker, they can start to shrink just a little bit.
Next up, there's the brain's outer surface, the cortex. It can actually get a bit thinner. And why does that happen? Well, it's mostly because some of the synaptic connections, think of them as the tiny little bridges between your brain cells, start to decline in number. And fewer bridges mean that messages have to take a slightly longer route to get where they're going, which is what we feel as slower thinking or processing.
And finally, there's the white matter. The best way to think about this is like the insulation that's wrapped around all the electrical wiring in your brain. As we age, this insulation, which is called myelin, can shrink. And just like a wire with spotty insulation, the electrical signal slows down. That directly impacts how fast different parts of your brain can talk to each other. Okay, so that was the what's happening part. It might sound a little bit like a downer, but here's where the story gets really, really exciting. Science is now showing us that this decline, it's not set in stone. It's not inevitable. We are actually learning how to rewrite the rules of aging, and it all kicks off with a powerful case for hope.
So, let me introduce you to the SuperAgers. These are incredible people. We're talking folks in their 80s and beyond whose memories are just as sharp as healthy people decades younger. It's amazing. As this researcher, Emily Rogalski, discovered, they are somehow actively resisting that typical rate of decline. They are living proof that a totally different outcome is possible.
And the difference isn't just slight, it's staggering. When scientists actually looked inside the brains of these superagers, they found that their brains shrink at a much slower rate than their peers. And this physical difference translates directly into this powerful resistance to memory loss. See, they aren't just lucky. Their brains are physically, measurably aging differently.
So, if superagers exist, what's the secret sauce? What's the mechanism? Well, cutting-edge science is digging for answers. And get this, a really fascinating study in mice found that stem cells in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus seem to act like a control center for aging. When the researchers replenished these stem cells in older mice, they actually slowed and in some cases even reversed signs of aging. Now, it's early days for sure, but wow, what a powerful hint at what might be possible down the road.
Okay, so knowing all of that, what can we do, like, right now? This brings us to what I think is the most empowering part of this whole explainer, your proactive, personal brain care plan. These are the actionable steps, all backed by solid science, to start building a more resilient mind for the long haul. And really, it all boils down to these 6 pillars of brain health. Now, these aren't magic pills, okay? They're a collection of powerful, interconnected habits.
From moving your body and challenging your mind, to connecting with other people and eating well, these are the levers we can actually pull to change our brain's future.
Let's kick things off with physical activity. And I want you to remember just one single powerful number. 10. 10 years.
So what does 10 years even mean? Well, one incredible study found that people over 50 who got little to no exercise saw their thinking skills decline at a rate that was equivalent to 10 extra years of aging. And that happened in just a 5-year period. Now, the flip side of that is amazing. Regular, moderate exercise can effectively turn back your brain's clock. We're talking a mix of things like brisk walking and some strength training for about 45 minutes on most days of the week.
All right, next up, we gotta challenge our minds. And learning to play a musical instrument is such a fantastic example of this. Think about it. It forces all these different brain systems, your hearing, your motor skills, your memory, to work together in perfect concert. And research shows this literally changes your brainwaves, proving that our brains have this incredible ability to adapt and rewire themselves, no matter how old we are.
And of course, we have to fuel our brains correctly. Now, this isn't about some miracle diet. It's about getting specific, powerful nutrients. Things like omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which you can find in oily fish, are really linked to healthy brain aging. And then there's this other powerhouse nutrient called lutein.
This is just incredible. Scientists found that middle-aged adults who had higher levels of luteinol, that's the nutrient you get from leafy greens like kale and spinach, and also from eggs and avocados, their brains had responses that looked more like the brains of younger people. Let me put that simply. Eating the right stuff can actually help an older brain function more like a younger one. How cool is that?
So why is this conversation so incredibly critical, especially right now? Well, just consider the sheer scale of our aging population. By the year 2050, the number of adults over 65 in the US alone is expected to hit 88.5 million. That's huge. Protecting our cognitive health isn't just a personal quest anymore. It's a critical issue for all of us.
Ultimately, all this science leaves us with a really inspiring conclusion. Our brains are not set in stone. They're not static. They are constantly changing, for better or for worse, based on the choices we make every single day. The story of your brain's future, well, it hasn't been written yet. So the only question left is, what are you going to do today to start writing your next chapter?